Hey FabTV fans, I'm sitting here with Elia Popov, owner of JEM FX, and he just did a bunch of the practical effects for Shang-Chi. How the meetings went when you first started planning everything for the Shang-Chi movie?
Originally get contacted by the producers and the special effects team, my counterparts from Atlanta. So there's a first unit and we were second unit. So second unit's when they go off to splinter off to shoot a big action sequence that doesn't really involve any actors and actresses and whatnot. So basically we got contacted with this idea of doing this bus type of interactive scene in San Francisco. And not a lot of it was sorted out early on. We had to go there, scout, and kind of almost formulate a complete plan of what you saw in the theater from that meeting.
Take us through. So Disney and this Marvel film has this bus idea. It looks like Aquafina and Seema will be on this bus. And what did you have to do to this bus and that trash truck to make this crashing scene through the streets of San Francisco without damaging a single tree, I heard?
Yeah, that was the number one thing, is do not damage anything. We were on a historic street in San Francisco right in front of Ghirardelli Square, and we were there with our locations managers, all our producers, and everyone standing there. And the whole trash truck had not been worked out until we were actually there. We knew we had to ski the bus on top of cars for the scene. We knew there was pieces of it, but there was no plan until we actually saw the location. And myself, the stunt coordinator, second unit director, and the director were there, and we just started talking out loud, and that plan was formulated completely at that point. So then we decided it'd be the bus would lean over but need something to lean onto. Well, something that's big enough that could hold that weight would be a trash truck. And then from there, we came back to our shop here in Valencia, sat down with all our engineers and designers, and came up with a game plan.
And then from that point on, you guys go to the Magic Mountain parking lot and actually do a test of this whole thing first, correct?
Yeah, seeing how we're in Valencia, California, and Magic Mountain's in our backyard, and they've been our test site for many, many years. Great location because when the park's not open, that parking lot's for rent, and it was lots of room, it's private. We could either succeed or fail in privacy and just destroy a bunch of stuff without really having anyone in harm's way. And it's always been a great location because like literally it's a mile or two down the road from us. We just go down there, do the test, come back.
Well, take me through what happened. So you got the trash truck and the bus, and you do a run through, and then you learn from this test.
Work with our picture car department, and they purchase us all the buses and the trash trucks and everything we need to do our job, and then they bring it to us here. And then first thing we do is put everything on a diet. You know, trash trucks are not light, neither are buses. So our team sets off first to really get rid of any weight you don't need to make these things rolling facades. And then we rebuild structure into them that's required to make the mechanical motion of the gag happen.
What I was noticing from some of the special effects shots of inside the bus has all this like gadgetry in it, and then in the film, all that's gone. So do they lay like green screen over it, or what happens?
There's multiple buses purchased. We would get a stunt bus for driving. We would also get a stunt bus for the tilt. But then in Australia, where the main principal photography was done, they also have buses there that are matched for interior shots. So our counterparts in Australia put it on a process rig and basically moved the bus around on green screen, and they did all the actor interaction there on green screen background, but they actually did move a bus around. They did an outstanding job making this big, heavy bus that they had really articulate. And then during our design process, we would start feeding them information of angles and whatnot. So then they would take their process rig and angle it to match us, so that when you put the two together, it's seamless, that you can't tell that, you know, we had one rig and they had another rig. So that whole interaction and teamwork blended together to come out perfectly.
I was watching the footage, so now you have it all set up. You got the bus all rigged up, you got the trash truck all, looks like a very souped up engine I could hear, by the way. And you got these stunt drivers. They weren't driving the street slow, they were driving fast.
Yeah, no, the stunt team on our show here, on this whole project, many years of experience, outstanding, just complete, organized, trained. I can't say enough, because we could build the best apparatus in the world, and if we hand it to someone who doesn't have that skill, it could all become for nothing. So we were very blessed to have some of the finest stunt people behind the wheel of everything, and coordinating and organizing lockups and all that, for the whole street and the speeds and camera angles even. So, you could do all this, but if you don't have a second year director who actually understands the proper camera angle to capture that could work against you also.
Now, Elia, was this a one take?
Yeah, it was a one-take wonder. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much. We tested in Magic Mountain with the rail bus that we had in San Francisco and the rail trash truck. And if something had gone, catastrophically wrong there, we had very little time to go back to the drawing board and adjust. So we didn't have a perfect test there. I'll be very honest with you. Our first test out, we did not have the proper angle, and we came in and hit the first test car, and it was a complete disaster. It was still a great gag, but what we wanted, we counted it as a disaster. We came back to the drawing board, went back a week later, had everything sorted out. So I'm glad we had that opportunity to test, and having a studio behind us that would afford us the opportunity to do full test, full speed, and then go and execute it. That was a big plus.
When you were doing the test, did you realize that you had to score and lighten up the cars in order to make this seem more fluid?
It was more than that also, because what we wanted is, that bus could have come through there and just annihilated everything all within a block, but it would have taken away from the storyline. You would have had parts and pieces blocking windshields and stuff like that. So by scoring the vehicles the way we did, it kept your focus on the actual important part of the story, is with the bus and the trash truck, not the vehicles they're hitting as much that could come in and just give you, complete block shots. Now you're able to pull that whole scene all the way down the road and know that as you hit something, it just goes away. You know it's there, but you don't have to focus on where did it go, because it just got crushed. So yes, scoring the cars was done for multiple reasons, but the number one reason is it wasn't the focal point of what that disaster scene coming down the block was supposed to be about.
Now, when I've watched it, I had to watch it a few times before interviewing you, and I noticed that there was like some extra stuff, like these sparks and stuff, that seems like a little extra, but not extra in a bad way, extra in a good way.
That's an old trick used in the industry. Basically, we will go out and glue what's called Zerk balls all over the vehicle. So upon impact, because they're a friction device, wherever they touch, they'll go off, and it's a natural thing. Instead of wiring a bunch of pyrotechnic devices and sitting there trying to time it on a button, which you can do, and it's been done, but when you're carrying a shot that far down the street and you're pulling it with a camera arm, and you have no mistake, like you could have one spark go off wrong and ruin the whole gag. So instead, going to the old school trick of gluing Zerk balls on stuff, and they just, whichever ones touch on impact, they go off. And it's those little pieces, along with the right scoring, the right scoring in the right place, and some scoring heavy, some scoring light, including all the way down to the end where the car rotates out. We built a track for that. So it's those little things that tie that whole scene together.